Hello, everybody! Let's talk about how the Suns have been playing in their last 12 games since the All-Star break. The Suns got destroyed by the Spurs. Another day, another Suns game where a starter gets hurt. It looked like the Suns were going to keep this game competitive, with Jalen Green cooking early in the first quarter with 7 points to give the Suns a 2-point lead. But Book got hurt and the Suns just didn't have enough offensively to match the Spurs. And it's not like the Suns were playing bad defense against the Spurs. They just couldn't score with so many of their scorers being out like Brooks, Book, and Grayson Allen. So the Spurs were on a 28-9 run to give them an 18-point lead early in the second quarter. It looked like the Suns might make a comeback, with Book coming back in the game after being in the locker room for most of the first half, and the Suns were able to cut the Spurs lead to 13. But Book only played 2 minutes in the second quarter and was out for the rest of the game for right hip soreness. And things just got worse for the Suns. Early in the third quarter, the Spurs were on a 15-4 run to have a 23-point lead, and the Suns were never able to make another run to get the game close. This loss really sucks because we thought everyone would come back healthy after the All-Star break, but the Suns' luck has been terrible this season. Every time someone comes back healthy, someone is out for the next game. With all these injuries, I think the Suns are going to have a tough time climbing up the standings. So this team's ceiling this season is either the 7th or 6th seed. I hope I'm wrong, but these injuries are stacking up and the Suns only have 26 games left. The one positive about this game is that Jalen Green looked a lot more comfortable in this game. He scored 26 points, but it wasn't enough to keep this game competitive. The Suns were able to escape with the win against the Magic. This game was a roller coaster of emotions. Dillon Brooks got hurt in the first quarter and never came back. And with him being out, it felt like the Suns didn't have enough offensively to win this game. I thought this game was over when the Magic had a 12-point lead late in the second quarter. At that moment, it just felt like the Magic needed to go on one more run to make this a blowout. But the Suns proved me wrong and started cooking early in the third quarter. They had an 18-5 run to give the Suns a 5-point lead. And the MVP of that run is Mark Williams. The Suns finally started getting him more involved in the offense and he paid them back by scoring 9 points. The Suns continued their momentum early in the fourth quarter and had an 11-point lead. But of course, the Suns offense went cold to close this game out. And of course, they had another injury to a key rotation player in Jordan Goodwin. So the Magic went on a run to tie this game up and go to overtime. In OT, it looked like the Magic were going to close this game out when they had a 5-point lead with 2 minutes remaining. But Grayson Allen saved us and went on a personal 7-0 run to give the Suns a 2-point lead. But again, the Suns couldn't close this game out and these two teams went to OT again. And in double OT, our boy Jalen Green, after having a truly terrible game offensively, hit the dagger to win this game. I'm happy that the Suns won this game because I wouldn't be able to handle watching this team lose to the Magic in a tough game and then lose to Portland the next day. And I just wanted to say that even though Jalen Green had a terrible game offensively, the Suns really needed him to shoot 26 times in this game because who else was going to shoot that much? I don't care that he missed 20 shots and 4 free throws. The Suns needed him to take those shots to give other players some space to work with, especially with Book and Dillon Brooks out. But he definitely needs to shoot better than that in the next game. With no Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks, Grayson Allen, and Jordan Goodwin, the Suns lost to Portland on a back-to-back. In the first quarter, the Suns kept the game competitive and were tied up with Portland, and the Suns were able to have a 3-point lead early in the second quarter. But Portland won an 8-2 run to have a 7-point lead. The Suns at this point had nothing going for them. They were 2 for 19 from 3 and nobody showed up offensively, which makes sense. It was a back-to-back and the Suns went to double OT the night before, and things just got worse for the Suns from there. Portland won an 11-2 run in the third quarter to give them a 20-point lead. Shout out to the rookies for cooking a little bit in the third quarter to at least make it entertaining and cut the lead to 14. But that Portland run basically won them this game. Colin tried his best by scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter to get the game close, but the Suns didn't have enough offensively to even get to 90 points. At least the Suns rookies showed some nice flashes in this game. The Suns got destroyed in the Celtics game with no Jaylen Brown. Going into this game, I thought the Suns had a chance to win this. And they had a great start to the first quarter with the 12-2 run to have a 5-point lead. The Celtics obviously responded back, but the Suns were still able to keep their 5-point lead. The Suns continued to cook in the second quarter and pushed the lead to 11. But everything went downhill for the Suns in the last 5 minutes of the second quarter. The Suns offense went cold and they only scored 5 points, while the Celtics scored 20 to have a 4-point 9-point lead at halftime. The good news for the Suns is that it was still a close game, but man, the Suns just got destroyed in the third quarter. The Celtics continued to cook by going on a 30-6 run to have a 20-point lead. After that run, the Suns basically had no chance of winning this game. This was a terrible loss for the Suns. I know the Suns are missing a lot of players, but man, it was frustrating to watch our starting center get dominated by Kita when Mark Williams should have had a 15 points and 10 rebounds type of game. But instead, Kita made Mark Williams look like he shouldn't even be on the same court as him. Hopefully when Book comes back, Mark Williams can look more like himself. But man, this was a really disappointing game from him, especially when the Suns need him. The Suns beat the Lakers in a close game with no Book, Dylan Brooks, and Jordan Goodwin. The Suns started cooking early in the first quarter with everyone in the starting lineup hitting some important shots to have an 8-point lead. But the Suns offense went cold in the last 5 minutes to the point the Suns only scored 5 points, while the Lakers were on an 18-5 run in the last 5 minutes of the quarter to give the Lakers a 5-point lead. The Suns and Lakers were trading buckets to open the second quarter, but the Suns had an awesome 6-point play, with Jalen Green hitting a 3 and Bowie getting a steal that led to Royce hitting a 3 to give the Suns a 10-point lead. But again, the Suns offense went cold to close the second quarter. In the last 5 minutes, they scored 4 points, while the Lakers scored 14 points to tie the game up at halftime. In the third quarter, the Lakers continued to cook the Suns with an 11-0 run to have an early 11-point lead. This part of the game was wild because the Suns decided to pull all the Suns starters out 3 minutes into the third quarter and put the bench in, and they made the right decision. The bench was able to go on a 22-7 run to give the Suns a 3-point lead. The MVPs of that run are Fleming and Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen scored 13 points in that run, with Fleming playing amazing defense and scoring 5 points. But the Lakers were able to hit a 3 to tie the game again to end the third quarter. The Suns made up for it though in the fourth quarter by going on an 18-3 run to give the Suns a 12-point lead with 6 minutes remaining. And the MVPs of that run are also in Colin. Their two-man game is so good they combined for 14 points in that run. But of course, the Suns offense went cold again, and Luka put on his cape to score 9 points and tie the game up with 1 minute remaining. But it's okay, guys. Luka is a good scorer but a terrible defender, so whatever he scores, he gives it up on the other side, as we saw with the amazing Royce game winner to close this game out. Like, bro, why did the Lakers roll over on defense like bowling pins? This was a much needed win for the Suns, especially with back-to-back bad losses against Portland and Boston. The Suns beat the Kings. The Suns opened up the first quarter with some terrible turnovers from Jalen Green and Mark Williams. I was just shaking my head when Mark was posting up Russ and turned the ball over, and I was disappointed when Mark had a hook shot and airballed it. It was just a really disappointing start from the Suns, and it didn't help that Malik Monk came in and dropped 11 points on perfect shooting, and the Suns bench couldn't match the Kings shooting, so the Kings had an 11-3 run to end the first quarter. But the Suns showed some pride in the second quarter with an 18-6 run to have a 10-point lead, with Colin, Oso, Book, and Grayson Allen making some tough buckets. But the best bucket was the alley-oop from Colin to Jalen Green. It was just chef's kiss. The Kings responded back with the 12-2 run to cut the lead to 1, with Westbrook making some wild shots that the Suns defense will live with. But Mark Williams letting Precious go off is something that the Suns didn't like, so they quickly subbed him out for Oso. The Suns were able to keep a 4-point lead at halftime. The Suns threw the first punch in the third quarter with the 14-0 run to have a 13-point lead. This run was wild because Colin and Royce each hit 2 threes, and the Suns continued to get hot and had an 11-2 run to end the third quarter with a 15-point lead. The MVP of that run is Rasheer Fleming. He was everywhere during that run. He hit 2 threes and kept getting his hands on offensive rebounds that led to threes. It looked like the Suns had this game in the bag, but of course the Suns let the Kings go on a 14-4 run to get the game close. But the Suns closed it out with a bookmark dagger. This was a good game that never felt like the Suns were going to lose, and it gave players who've been struggling lately a chance to get in rhythm like Jalen Green and Mark Williams. The Suns lost to the Bulls. The Suns had a horrible start to the game with the Bulls having a 12-3 run. The Suns just couldn't make any buckets, while the Bulls were getting some easy shots off offensive rebounds and turnovers from the Suns to have a 9-point lead. But the Suns rookie showed up and sparked a 9-2 run to end the first quarter down 4. But the Bulls quickly responded in the second quarter with a 6-0 run to push their lead to 10. The Suns were able to respond back with Book starting to cook and cut the Bulls lead to 5 at halftime, but the Bulls threw the first punch in the third quarter and pushed their lead back to 11. The Suns just had too many turnovers, couldn't make any shots, and let the Bulls walk into the paint. But the Suns did show some pride and had a 12-4 run to cut the Bulls lead to 3. But again, the Suns got sloppy and couldn't make any shots, so the Bulls had a 6-point lead to end the third quarter. All the Suns needed to do is lock in and go on a big run to beat the Bulls. They almost did that in the fourth quarter with the 12-3 run to cut the lead to 3 with 1 minute left. And Book was able to hit a clutch 3 to cut the lead to 1 with 20 seconds left in the game. And the Suns were able to force a turnover on the other side. So Jalen Green had the chance to make the game-leading layup and missed. And again, the Suns had a chance to get a rebound to tie the game. But of course, they couldn't secure the rebound and lost the game. This was just a terrible loss from the Suns. From the start, the Suns were just a mess offensively and defensively. They let the Hospital Bulls have any shot they wanted in the paint. And the Suns were depending on a late comeback to win this game, but they just couldn't finish it. The Suns beat the Pelicans in a close game. After having a horrible game against the Bulls, the Suns had a great start. They had a 7-point lead early in the game, and the Suns continued to make buckets to keep that lead. But at the end of the first quarter, the Suns let the Pelicans go on a 12-3 run to have a 3-point lead. The Suns responded in the second quarter by having a 16-4 run. The MVPs of that run were Oso and Grayson Allen, who combined for 10 points, with Allen hitting the 3 to give the Suns a 5-point lead. But the Pelicans quickly went on a 6-0 run when Malawach came in to have a 1-point lead. Those are the moments that Suns fans need to give Malawach a chance to learn from his mistakes and not be annoyed or frustrated with him. But the Suns were able to respond late in the second quarter with a 16-5 run to have a 10-point lead. And the one that sparked that run was Jalen Green. He scored 7 points during that run to give the Suns a 10-point lead. But Zion was able to get some free throws late in the game to cut the Suns lead to 6 at halftime. The Suns threw the first punch in the third quarter with a 7-0 run to push their lead to 10, with Royce scoring 5 of those points. But the Pelicans quickly responded with their own 10-2 run to cut the lead to 1. But Book really said enough is enough. This man started cooking late in the third quarter to spark a 17-5 run. By himself, Book scored 13 points to push the Suns lead to 13. But the Pelicans were able to hit a shot at the end of the third quarter to cut the Suns lead to 11. In the fourth quarter, the Suns were able to hold their lead for most of the quarter. But late in the fourth, the Pelicans won an 8-2 run to cut the Suns lead to 2 points with 8 seconds remaining. The Suns offense went cold and the Pelicans were able to take advantage. And the Suns almost went to overtime with the Pelicans almost stealing the ball. But shout out to Royce for being able to sneak in and get the ball back to win this game for the Suns. It sucks that this game was close, but I'll take any win right now. And it was awesome to finally see a good Book and Jalen Green game. They combined for 57 points in this game. Plus, Malawach had a really good performance with 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 blocks. The Suns beat the Hornets. The Suns and Hornets were trading buckets early, but the Hornets went on a 7-0 run to have an 8-point lead. And the Suns returned the favor with their own 11-2 run to have a 1-point lead late in the first quarter, with Malawach having some great defensive plays. And Fleming hit the 3 to give the Suns the lead, but the Hornets were able to hit some important shots late to give them a 5-point lead. But our boy Collins said, wait a minute, and hit a 3 at the buzzer to cut the lead to 2. The Hornets continued to cook in the second quarter with a 7-0 run to have a 7-point lead, but the Suns responded back with a 14-4 run to have a 2-point lead. And the MVP of that run was Jalen Green. That man scored 9 points and looked more like himself out there. He was hitting threes, making crafty layups, and drawing fouls. And the Hornets tried to make runs to get the lead back, but the Suns were able to keep their 2-point lead at halftime. The Suns threw the first punch in the second half with an 8-0 run to push their lead to 10, with Jalen Green finishing off that run with a beautiful dunk off a Book pass. But the Hornets responded back with their own 8-0 run late in the third quarter to cut the Suns lead to 1. The Hornets could have ended the third quarter only down 1, but the Hornets fouled Collin on a 3 to give the Suns a 4-point lead. The Suns closed this game out in the fourth quarter with a 15-4 run to give the Suns a 13-point lead. Fleming and Collin combined for 11 of those points to win this game for the Suns. This was an amazing win from the Suns. They beat one of the hottest teams in the league, and it wasn't even a close game at the end. Book and Jalen Green had good games, but the rookies were the best part of this game. They both had important moments, with Fleming scoring a career-high 16 points and Malawach having 9 rebounds and 2 blocks. This was just an impressive game from a Suns team that's dealing with a lot of injuries. The Suns beat the Bucks. Jalen Green went on a personal 7-0 run to give the Suns a 7-point lead early in the first quarter, but the Suns Suns didn't take advantage and let the Bucks go on a 17-5 run to give them a 4-point lead. I was getting flashbacks of the 2021 finals with how many free throws Giannis got in that run, but the Suns said hold on and went a 9-3 run to end the first quarter, with Grayson Allen getting a 4-point play to give the Suns a 6-point lead. The Bucks opened the second quarter with a 9-0 run, with Miles Turner hitting 2 threes to give the Bucks a 3-point lead. Book did get hot in the second quarter to give the Suns a 3-point lead, but the Bucks closed out the first half with an 8-2 run to give them a 3-point lead. The Bucks continued to cook in the third quarter with an 8-0 run to push their lead to 11. At this point, it felt like the Bucks role players were going to win this game for the Bucks, because for some reason Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner decided they were going to go off against the Suns. But the Suns returned the favor by going on a 12-2 run to give the Suns a 3-point lead, with the MVPs of that run being Royce and Jalen Green. They combined for 10 of those points, with Jalen Green making some beautiful crafty layups. The Suns continued to cook late in the third quarter with a 9-2 run, with Royce hitting back-to-back threes to give the Suns a 2-point lead, and Royce ended the third quarter with the buzzer beater to give the Suns a 3-point lead. The Suns continued to cook in the fourth quarter with an 11-2 run to push their lead to 12, with Grayson Allen and Collin combining for 9 points in that run. That run won this game for the Suns. The Bucks didn't have enough offensively or defensively to make another run to get the game close. This was another beautiful game from Book and Jalen Green that combined for 52 points. This was a really good game from the rookies. I'm really surprised that Malawach was able to score 8 points but not get a single rebound. Either way, he still had a good game, but he needs to at least be getting 4 to 5 rebounds a game. The Suns beat the Pacers. The Pacers started cooking early with the 9-1 run to give them a 5-point lead, but the Suns responded back with the 12-3 run to have a 4-point lead. Book was the MVP of that run. He had 7 of those 12 points, but the Pacers were able to hit some tough buckets to end the first quarter with a tie. The Suns looked like they were ready to blow out the Pacers in the second quarter with the 25 run to have a 14-point lead. Jalen Green only scored 6 of those points in that run, but he had some awesome moments defensively and was getting whatever he wanted offensively. But sadly, the Suns had a bad stretch offensively late in the second quarter and let the Pacers go on an 11-2 run to cut the lead to 6 at halftime. The Suns threw the first punch in the second half with back-to-back threes to push their lead to 10. Even with all the injuries the Pacers have, they still play hard and went on a 9-3 run to cut the lead to 5. But Book said enough is enough and scored 8 points to close the third quarter and give the Suns an 8-point lead. Overall, Book scored 19 points, and I know he was only 5 for 12 in the fourth quarter, but it felt like he was making everything. The Suns made one more run early in the fourth quarter to win this game. Jalen Green really called a game and had a personal 8-0 run to push the Suns lead to 14. The Pacers tried to go on a run, but they didn't have enough offensively to get the game close. This was another good game from Book and Jalen Green. They combined for 79 points, and it looks like both of them are really in rhythm right now. It was also nice to see Fleming play some backup 5 in this game just to get those reps, and I think he did a pretty good job as a rim protector. Even if he makes a mistake, his long limbs make it easy for him to recover on defense. The Suns collapsed in the fourth quarter and lost to the Raptors. This is one of those games where I have no idea how I feel. For 3 quarters, the Suns always had a response to any run the Raptors made and kept their lead. I mean, this is a game where Book and Jalen Green combined for 65 points and had a 10-point lead early in the fourth quarter. But the Suns still somehow lost this game. The Raptors went small to close this game, and the Suns matched it by putting out a lineup of Highsmith, Royce, Book, Jalen Green, and Grayson Allen. I understand that the Suns like to trust their vets to close these type of games out, and both Royce and Grayson Allen have shown they can be clutch in those moments, but that lineup was just too small. Everyone in that lineup is basically a 6'5 shooting guard, while the Raptors were putting out a lineup that had 3 6'8 guys. I get that Oso couldn't be out there because he was having a terrible game offensively, and the Raptors probably would have fouled him to close this game out since he was 1 for 7 from the free throw line. And I get they don't want to put Malawach out there because they don't trust him. I completely understand why the Suns went small and why they put their best shooters out there. The Suns thought that lineup could get the most stops and score enough to win this game. But what I really don't understand is why the Suns didn't have Fleming out there to close this game. The Suns could have easily taken out Highsmith and put Fleming in, who was having a really good game. This This man had 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 blocks. This loss would be a lot less frustrating if we got to see what Fleming can do in the clutch. Plus, the Suns would actually have someone that's 6'10 who can make it hard for a 6'8 wing like Ingram to score. But instead, the Suns let a 6'5 shooting guard defend Brandon Ingram and lost the game. Again, guys, I really don't know how to feel about this game, but games like this reassure me that the Suns are going to be the 7th seed. They need to win more of these close games if they want to be a top 6 seed in the West, because everyone else ahead of them keep winning games. Since the All-Star break, the Suns are 7-5. That's really good when you remember that the Suns have had a really rough stretch where they had no Book, Grayson Allen, Brooks, or Goodwin. In their first 5 games, they played against the Spurs, Magic, Portland, Boston, and Lakers and went 2-3. You know it's bad when the Suns were only able to score around 80 points against Portland and the Celtics. Both teams are good defensively, but the Suns should at least be scoring 100 points in the modern NBA. But the injuries on this team really affected their offense, and Jalen Green did not look good as the #1 option. But with Book coming back, the Suns were able to go 5-2 with an amazing win against the Hornets, who have been one of the best teams in the NBA lately. It sucks that the Suns are still the 7th seed, but at least the Suns were able to survive a tough stretch where most of their rotation was injured, and we got to see players shine with the minutes that opened up. Like, our boy Fleming has been playing so good that it doesn't make sense for the Suns to take him out of the rotation. And Haywood Highsmith has also shown that he could be a solid 3-and-D wing off the bench. Hopefully the Suns can make a run for a top 6 seed, but it's going to be difficult. The other teams ahead of them aren't losing enough games for the Suns to pass them by, and the Suns do have a rough stretch of games coming up, so it's going to be hard for the Suns to climb the standings. But that's it for me today, guys. If you guys like this video, drop some comments down below, like the video, subscribe. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys next time.